need a freelance income goal. You need to know how much money you plan to make. And this might seem obvious, like, yeah, sure, goal setting, blah, 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 write down your goals, blah, blah, blah. Do not underestimate this, because this actually determines your outcomes in terms of freelancing. I'm going to get into it deeply, but if you don't know where you're going, you're going to make the wrong steps, the wrong decisions, the wrong moves. If you know how much you need to make, your decisions in terms of how you get to that income goal change. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. If you know your income goal, the decisions you make to get to that goal will change. You will make different decisions. You will make better decisions. You will make decisions that are more in line with where you're going. And that's why we need a freelance income goal. Do not underestimate this step, because even though it's day 5 of the Freelance Fast Track Challenge, even though it's the last day of my free live event, it is the most important, because it is what brings all of the teaching together. And that's the big key, because you can learn everything. I'm sure you have learned everything. You've spent all the time going through all of the YouTube videos, the podcasts, the courses, whatever. You've consumed a lot of information. I'm sure of it, but you haven't taken action. And the reason why you haven't taken action is because of this last step, because you haven't set that goal and then worked backward to achieve the goal. So that's what separates the people who are winning from those who aren't, is that they have set a goal and they have concrete steps on how to reach that goal. And even if they don't reach the exact goal, they are a hell of a lot closer to it than they would have been if they didn't take those steps, right? So when we were in school and they used to say, shoot for the moon, and even if you miss, you'll land among the stars. That was literally like a poster in my 6th grade classroom or whatever. It's corny as it sounds, it's kind of true, because who you will become on your journey to reaching that goal is actually more important than reaching the goal, okay? So I'm Christine. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a full-time freelance copywriter, and I run an online community called 30 Days to Paid. The community is the #Paid Writers community. It's where I provide teaching on how you can start a freelance business A to Z. Primarily how you can acquire clients, because that is the number one weakness of most freelance writers. Writers know how to write, they have that common sense, but they don't know how to actually get high-paying clients. And without high-paying clients, you don't have a business. So I'm in the B2B technology space. That is my niche. How I wound up there, it was kind of just a choice of like, hey, that looks like it's profitable. Hey, I've used software before. I could probably figure this out. And I did it. I did not have any special software experience. I just chose a high-paying niche, okay? I went on to write for companies like DocuSign, Zapier, Thinkific, HP. And how did I write for those big names despite having no experience? Well, it's because I cold pitched them, right? So that's what 30 Days to Paid is all about, is teaching you how to cold pitch. And how did I learn how to cold pitch? Well, I was in sales before I became a freelance copywriter. So literally, I took everything I had learned in that sales career and put it toward putting myself out there as a freelance copywriter. And then I used online resources, YouTube specifically, to learn how to build a website and how to market myself. But that goal of getting my foot in the door with prospective clients was all from this past sales experience. And that's why I teach freelance writers how to cold pitch and how to communicate with clients, because it's not something you necessarily have the skill for unless you are in sales, right? So I landed my first freelance client, my first high-paying freelance client in 30 days using the methods that I teach. And when I say high-paying, I meant I literally got a $1,100 per month blog retainer client despite having no experience. And at the time, that was the rent on my studio apartment. So I said to myself, if I can literally get one client to pay my rent with blog posts, then now it's my phone bill, and now it's my electricity bill, and it's rinse and repeat until you get to the final destination, which is making a full-time income. I want to debunk all of the myths out there about freelancing being difficult, unstable. Oh, I need to, be experienced. I have to have, prior this, prior that, flashy this, flashy that in order to succeed. It's not true. You need to learn how to market yourself correctly. You need to know how to appeal to your ideal client, and you need to be able to provide value, and everybody's capable of that. I would even argue that newer copywriters have the raw skills and the enthusiasm and the ability to provide a better experience than a lot of jaded, seasoned, veteran freelance copywriters, right? So I want to really make this attainable for people who they know they want to leave their full-time job. They know they want to be self-employed. They know they don't want to rely on a 9 to 5, and they're ready to take this risk and put themselves out there to become a freelance copywriter. And no, it's not going to be easy. Yes, you're going to have to figure out your health benefits. There's all this stuff. But for me, it's worth it to be self-employed, to not have to be somewhere at a certain time, to have control over my income, to have control over my schedule, and to have the self-reliance and the independence and the autonomy to know I'm making my own way in this world. I'm also somebody who's not suited for full-time employment. And you might not be either, for several reasons, whether it's a disability, a chronic illness, or you just hate working like I do. So let me see if this sounds like you, okay? This is how you kind of know you're in the right place and whether or not this is going to apply to you. So your dream is to do what you love on your own schedule while making good money, leave your 9 to 5 for whatever reason. For a lot of people, it's travel. For other people, it's family. For me, it's just wanting to stay home and not leave the house. You are ready to raise your standards, right? So you don't want to just settle for any gig that comes your way. That's how you know this is for you, because you can take another course that basically focuses on Fiverr and Upwork and other platforms, and that's fine. You will get gigs. I'm not trying to help you get the one-off writing gig. I want you to get higher paying clients so that you can work for a handful of clients and make a full-time income and get that free time back, okay? You are growth focused and you're always looking for a better way to do something. You want to work smarter and not harder. That's why a lot of people are attracted to my framework, is working smarter, not harder. Because one of the things I found out early in my journey when I first started this was that LinkedIn was more effective than emailing. So I had gone on YouTube and they said, oh, you can cold pitch using cold email. And I said, that's amazing. I know how to do cold email. I just spent my whole entire career doing that. I was literally somebody who sat there, cold emailed prospects for my company and took meetings with them. So I was like, cold email, I know how to do that. Let's go. I didn't make it far. Okay. So cold emailing was not successful for me. And I'll tell you a few reasons why. It's too time consuming. Tracking down correct emails is really difficult. You can pay somebody to give you a list, but the data is trash typically. It's a lot of time spent guessing and using tools and trying to track down correct email addresses. And then I was getting very little response rates. That being said, I only maybe sent less than 200 emails. I probably sent like 100 something and I wasn't getting the response. So I resorted to LinkedIn. And that's where the 30 days to paid framework came from, was because LinkedIn was a direct way to contact clients. I didn't need to know their email address. I could just contact them right then and there with a compelling message. And because it's more of a social platform, they could see my little picture, they can see my profile, and I could make an immediate connection with them. And I could do this over and over again until I got my first high-paying client. So I want you to type in the chat, what's one word that is your biggest challenge as a freelancer? What are you struggling with? Just give me one word. Is it confidence? Is it clients? What is your biggest challenge? Is it just you feel lost? You feel overwhelmed? You feel confused? You feel stuck? What's that one word that describes where you are right now in your freelance challenge? Type that in the chat. Hey, Ephraim, real-time advice from Christine's own experiences. Fire. Hey. Do you think I should take 3 to 5 clients at the beginning so I can test out myself? I'm not sure what you mean by that specifically, but getting clients is definitely where it's at. How important is it for me to have my picture on LinkedIn? Because I would rather not have it out there. Good question. The picture is really important. Having a picture not only on your LinkedIn profile, but on your website humanizes you and causes a connection to be formed between you and the person looking at your profile. Clients need to be able to trust the person they're doing business with. Everything is online now. It's not as personable as like a local situation. So we need to do everything possible to convey that we are human, and that in order to humanize us, we need to have photos. Now, not everyone is comfortable with pictures and photos and this and that. So what I recommend that you do is use an AI tool that will take a regular photo of you, like a selfie or a low quality photo, and actually creates a high quality image of you that looks like it was taken as a professional headshot. God has put us in such a time period, at such a point in history. It's funny. Sometimes I'm like, God, why are we here right now? Everything, like our economy with the COVID stuff, like why are we on earth at this period of time when it seems so challenging? And the truth is that every time period has their challenge, whether it's like, World War II or whatever. But right now we are in such a gifted time where you could have AI and technology give you access to stuff that you never would have had access to in the past. Okay. Like you could never build a website for cheap and just start putting yourself out there online. Like when I tell my mom the things I'm doing with my online course, she's like, oh my God, like this was not possible. Cause yeah, back in the day you had to pay a web developer and everything was so expensive. We have like the world at our fingertips right now. And we could take advantage of that. So sorry to get off on a tangent, but the fact that you can have a professional headshot done for free using AI is crazy. Ephraim said consistency. Favo Festa said stuck. Yeah, stuck is a big one. Consistency is a big one. Would LinkedIn still be okay if I can't update my profile much? So if you're asking about the fact that you might not be able to put yourself out there as a freelancer on LinkedIn because you're full-time employed, I have a whole video about that on YouTube about how to update and be on LinkedIn as a freelancer and get freelance opportunities without your employer knowing. If you're saying, when you say update your profile, you can't update your profile much, if you're referring to not being able to post and do like status updates and like create content on the platform in your feed, I don't do that. I don't post content. I'm not a thought leader. So you can use this platform in such an incognito way where you're not like putting yourself out there, because for me, I wouldn't be really comfortable doing that. And let me know if you have questions about that, because I'm happy to talk about it. What are some nuances we should be aware of if we want clients from America, UK, etc., if we're not from one of those countries? So Darren, if you're trying to break into the US market, but you're not in the US, don't think too much about that and get in your head and say, oh my God, they're not going to want me because I'm in the US. If you are marketing yourself correctly, positioning yourself correctly, you have a dialed in value proposition, it doesn't matter where on earth you are from. It's like you have something they want. And with the age of the internet, we can do business internationally and not worry about that. Okay. So there's a lot of insecurities that come from maybe not living in the US or a Western country. But if you are marketing yourself and positioning yourself in a way where, you know, it's very dialed in and they're like, yes, that person can do what I need them to do. They don't care where you are. That's why these tech startups are outsourcing like their web development and a lot of their programming and all this stuff to Mexico and all of these foreign countries, because they have a skill, right? So, and a lot of the time it's cheaper. So don't let that get in your head. Just register for the Freelance Fast Track Challenge, where I'm actually going to show you how to market yourself and position yourself and package your skills in a way that translates to the client. Matt said procrastination with cold pitching. I know I need to send every day, but I really struggle. Totally, Matt. And Matt's a student in 30 Days to Paid who's made incredible progress. But I know what you're saying, because that's something that we all struggle with, especially as you gain clients. The consistency part really falls to the wayside, because you're like, well, I'm booked out. Why should I be pitching? And the answer is that you will never deal with feast and famine, and you will never deal with low paying clients if you have this demand coming in from other clients. Something I do is really just take a few minutes at the end of the day to scroll my LinkedIn feed and do like 2 to 3 pitches. It's mindless, it's automatic, and doesn't require much brain energy. Pardon me. So I kind of just make it like an admin task at the end of the day to send those few pitches. Keeping on track and scheduled, perhaps too creative type. Yeah, so a lot of people, I think, feel constrained by the structure and the discipline and the consistency that is required in order to make this work. But that's why, if you can make it brainless or make it mindless or make it automatic using project management software, that will be so key. Because in the Freelance Fast Track Challenge, you'll have your goal. I'll teach you how to set a goal properly, and then you'll know the steps that you have to take to get there. And when that stuff is laid out clearly, it becomes automatic, and you know whether or not you hit the goal or not. I think a lot of freelancers struggle because every day just feels like you sit down to your laptop and you don't know what you should be doing. You don't know the steps to take, so you don't know if you hit the goal or not. And I kind of take that away in the Freelance Fast Track Challenge, because when you have the goal and you know the steps to get there, it's literally, did you check the item off the list or not, right? SimScale says, I can't update much because I'm still working full time. Hey, message me and I'll send you the link to that YouTube video. The picture isn't great. Someone was like, this is blurry. So have grace in that sense. But I have a whole video on how to update your LinkedIn profile and like navigate that while still full-time employed. And I'll link to that on YouTube. If you're watching this on the replay, that link is going to be in the show notes. Thank you, Ephraim. He just posted the link for the Fast Track Challenge. What kind of content do you write for B2B tech companies? And also, what are the specificities of that niche? Wally, let me know what you mean by specificities of that niche. Like, what exactly do you want to know? But I will tell you what type of content that I write. I write blog posts, I write ebooks, I write landing pages, I write email marketing nurture sequences, I write websites, and I've done a lot of stuff that I'll never do again, like writing knowledge-based articles. Darren says, great, thank you. I've signed up, super excited. Yay, Darren. Definitely sign up for the Freelance Fast Track Challenge, everyone. Christina's always so willing to give free game to us copywriters. Grateful for you. Hi, I believe that's Lauren. How you doing, Lauren? Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. I do have the belief or the ethos that like give your best information away for free, and that spirit of generosity will come back, right? So that's my whole belief with content marketing. It's why I write content for my freelance clients that I want to be high quality. It's why I give away so much for free on YouTube and here, is because I really genuinely believe that it will come back. Like it's not giving the farm away. It's the generosity comes back. Okay, so let's talk about setting your freelance income goal, an action plan for your freelance business, because it's what gives you clarity and peace of mind. You need to set a freelance income goal, and you need to have a guide that helps you structure that freelance income, right? So if you don't set your prices correctly, you will not make it as a copywriter, because you're either going to make too little to sustain the profession, or you're going to burn out because you keep taking low paying gigs and feeling overworked, okay? There's two options in freelancing. You either charge high rates and take on a few clients, or you take on a ton of low paying clients. And I want to switch you here, is working for high rates for a small amount of clients, for a handful of clients. I never work for more than 5 clients at a time. The key is to know how much you want to earn per year and work backwards. Sorry, the town's like fire engine alarm thing is going off, if you can hear that. So if your income goal is $60,000 per year, which is typically what I have been advising people, if you are brand new to this and you're going to go full time, set a goal of $60,000 per year. I think that you might want to up that a bit now with inflation. So $5,000 to $6,000 per month is what I would call realistic if you are taking this approach of having high paying freelance clients. So based on those numbers, let's say your goal is to make $5,000 to $6,000 per month. You're gonna have to say no to high paying clients. This is like the key. This is what really people miss, and they don't understand. Why am I still struggling? Why can't I make a full-time income? Why does it feel like I'm getting nowhere? It's because you're not taking on higher quality clients. You're not holding out for the high paying opportunities because you're not generating enough demand. If you have your calendar booked with meetings, you're not going to be tempted to get super over invested in that one client call where he's lowballing you. Same with dating. Like, ladies, we can't just take everything that comes our way. Like, we need standards. We need to weed out the people that aren't seeing our worth. You can't be desperate, right? So it's funny. I wish I could turn my screen around right now, but when I first, let's try. Should I try that? I hope the lights don't go out. Okay. I have this AWAI screenshot. It was a webinar I watched when I first became a freelance copywriter, and it says 4 to 5 regular anchor clients, the occasional small client, 20 to 25 hours a week doing client work, 10 hours a week on prospecting and business building, and then you'll be making $100,000 per year. Did I make $100,000 my first year of freelancing? No, I made around $50,000. But the point is that when I saw that, I was like, ooh, that's a breakdown I can understand. 4 to 5 anchor clients, one-off projects, 20 hours a week. Like it made it like doable for me. And that's what we need, is a vision to make it doable, right? So this is kind of like the big mindset blocks we're going to work on in the Freelance Fast Track Challenge. This is what people are telling me always in my DMs, which I love when you guys message me. My biggest mindset block, which is stopping me from landing my first client, is that I'm not consistent. I jump from one method to the other. I don't have a mentor, so I watch a lot of free stuff. And after that, I get confused about where to start and what to do next. Yes, that is really, really common, right? Because we're bombarded with strategy, okay? So I want to make a really important distinction, which is there's a big difference between strategy and a plan. You need both, don't get me wrong. You need a strategy for how you're going to get clients, but you need a plan. A strategy tells you the what, the plan tells you the how, okay? So this is kind of like my mindset with weight loss as well. It's like I found somebody who was helping me like lose weight consistently each week, but then I got shiny object syndrome and I saw like all the muscle girls on Instagram and they were like, oh no, don't count calories, count macros. So then I started doing another plan and then I gained weight. So the problem is we need to listen to one person. It's not saying that the one person is going to necessarily have the exact right answer that's going to figure out your life for you, but if you don't see a strategy all the way through, or you don't follow a plan to the end and see what you can get from that plan, you just keep switching it up, you'll never reach the goal because you're not giving one plan enough time to work. Sorry, let me just plug my laptop back in because I unplugged it to show you guys that. I always wanted to start my own business, but analysis paralysis, fear, procrastination all prevent me from taking action. This time I want to take action and I'm serious about it. So I really want the Freelance Fast Track Challenge to be your opportunity to take this seriously. If you have been burned in the past by past courses that haven't worked, if you are somebody who has enrolled in courses and haven't followed through, if you've been wanting to do this for a long time and it hasn't happened, so now you're feeling discouraged, I really want everybody to drop their baggage at the door of the Freelance Fast Track Challenge and look at this as a fresh start, okay? I want you to look at this as your opportunity to go into this with a clear mind, without the baggage of the past, without thinking, oh, I've messed up before, I've dropped the ball before. No, this is your opportunity to start again because you're going to be learning, but you're going to be taking action. So that pop-up group in the Freelance Fast Track Challenge is going to allow you to literally put in the group, this is the one thing that I'm doing to move myself forward and actually take action on what we just learned. That's why I created the Freelance Fast Track Challenge, is because as people who love to absorb information, we love to learn. That's why we're writers and researchers. We almost store that information and it becomes like something pretty sitting on a shelf versus something you use. We need to take action. We need to learn a concept and we need to implement the concept. Don't just have it stored up there as like, well, I have all this great knowledge, because that's the thing with business is people always think that, oh, I'm not smart enough to do this. I'm not capable enough. What if the fact that maybe you're not a genius, maybe you're not like one of those really smart people, what if that's your benefit? Because I know a lot of smart people that can't find their way out of a paper bag. They don't know any like tangible skills. They don't know any real life skills. They're book smart. They have a lot of knowledge, but it's not the smart people, the geniuses, the knowledgeable people that succeed in business. It's the people that follow their instincts, that know how to deal with people and that take action, and they're not afraid to keep messing up and picking themselves back up. It's the persistent person who doesn't get discouraged, not the smart person. So I really want you to like all this stuff about how you're not this enough, that enough, this enough, that enough. It's such an illusion. And if you can break free of that and be like, you know what, I'm going to try this and I'm going to take my L's and I'm going to get rejected and then I'm going to get back up and try again. That's the key, right? Easier said than done. You're not going to understand that until you do it. There's so much information about copywriting, how to break into it, that it can be overwhelming. I'm looking forward to learning a proven path to success. That's key, okay? You need a proven path to success. Whether it's my story of how I landed my first client or whether it's paidcopywriter.com/testimonials where you can see how my other students implemented this framework to land their first high-paying client, you need to see that something works for people of all different backgrounds, all different experience levels, all different niches. If you've just been trying and treading water and going in circles, it's not time to give up, it's time to get a plan. So that's really the key. You need a plan. You need to know, because the only way you can tell if you're really failing is if you're following a plan and not seeing results. So like, for example, in the course, in the paid writers community, when you enroll in 30 days to paid, as writers go through the modules and complete the tasks, they build their online presence and they get into the pitching, they'll message me a lot of the time and say, I'm not getting responses. What am I doing wrong? And then because I know they took certain steps, I literally just take them back. Okay, let me see your LinkedIn profile. Let me see your website. Let me see your pitch. We can determine, like, pinpoint areas of what you've done wrong so that we can fix those problems. And then once you fix those problems and then you move forward, then we're on the right track again. But if you haven't been following a plan and you haven't been taking strategic action based on the steps, we can't backtrack. We can't troubleshoot. It's just like a big question mark and it feels very overwhelming and very nebulous. Let me answer some questions. Enrico said it felt so good to replace my first low pay client with high paying ones. Yeah. Yeah. And that's really the key to building a sustainable freelance income, is constantly leveling up. Not in the sense of like, oh, I treat my clients like they're disposable and I'm constantly replacing them. But I'll just give you a prime example. When you have options and when you know you have other clients wanting to work for you, you're not going to feel any type of hesitation or fear in raising your rates, because you'll look at the client that you're working with right now, maybe they're lower paying, and you'll say, I either have to raise my rates on this client or I need to get a new client that's higher paying. What are you going to feel more comfortable doing? Just raising your rates because I'm telling you to, or raising your rates knowing there's a higher paying client waiting for you? It's the power and the energy of having options. Would commission-based payments still be reasonable if I only change a small section of their sales page? I wouldn't write for anything other than a flat fee. I've been getting a lot of questions on YouTube and here about royalty pay and like commission-based pay. I would just say make your life simple. I would say if you're a more advanced direct response copywriter, check out Roy Furr. That's ROYFURR. He talks a lot about direct response copywriting and gaining royalties, but the reason why I wouldn't want to do that is that, like, how do you know the client is being honest with you about how many sales they make? So I find that charging a flat fee for your copywriting services is like a sure way to make a sustainable income. I don't understand what subject a SaaS company would ask a copywriter to write for them. Okay, thank you for clarifying, Molly. The first thing you need to understand is content marketing and content marketing strategy. So what I would do when you're done with this call is Google, like, what is a content marketing strategy for a software company? Because once you understand why a software company hires a writer and what their goal is in hiring you and what they ultimately want from you as the end goal, you'll understand everything. And I'll just give you a quick breakdown right now. So a software company in the B2B space needs content online for several reasons. Number one is they want to rank in Google search engine, so they'll do like SEO blog posts. And number two, they need content to assist their sales process. So whether it's their sales reps sending out the resources that you're writing, whether it's them putting your resource into a paid ad campaign, they need content. People go online and they need to get answers to their questions before they buy something. So all we're doing is creating informational content for companies so that their customers can use that content to move closer to being a paying customer. So we're assisting a buyer's journey, okay? And depending on your niche and your industry, the buyer's journey looks different. Therefore, it will call for other types of content. I don't know why I'm so out of breath. I must be anxious. Let's see what else. Free 5-day challenge. Thanks, Ephraim. So I do want to just go over what is going to be covered in the Freelance Fast Track Challenge so that you can get excited. Day 0 is going to be September 10th, which is the welcome party. We get to hang out. I get to kind of give you an introduction into what you're going to be learning for the next 5 days, where I'm showing up live with you twice. This is what's really cool. It's 2 sessions. Number 1 is going to be a morning session where I'm just straight teaching. Number 2, I'm going to do a live Q&A session just like this where I'm answering your questions. You're going to have a workbook where everything I'm teaching is like in this huge value-packed workbook. So you're implementing everything you learn. You're putting it into action. This workbook in itself is so valuable. Shout out to Ephraim who helped me design it. It's so valuable. It's such a good resource that I put so much time and energy into that just that alone is going to be incredible. But when you match that with me teaching live, the community element and the workbook, you're going to be learning so much and implementing so much. So that's going to be the welcome party on Sunday. Then Monday, class is in session, right? So we're going to do a mindset training where I'm going to go into what's blocking you, okay? So I'm scrolling down. I have my script in front of me for the challenge. So we're going to talk a little bit about visualizations and how that can help you take action towards achieving your goal. I'm going to go into like why mindset even matters. Hint, hint. It's basically the foundation of everything. If you don't have this, nothing else is going to work. I could give you step-by-step instructions, but if the mindset isn't right, you're not going to take action, right? We're going to do a little bit of reframing and understand your outlook on failure, your outlook on rejection, and make you kind of desensitized to that. I'm going to talk about how to set goals properly, visualize success, getting unstuck. So breaking down overwhelming tasks and having a plan, that's going to break you out of that. I also want to talk about comparison, how we can unplug from a lot of the messages we're receiving. And I think that really contributes to why we get in our heads is like we're looking at the outside world and thinking like, I'll never be this, I'll never be that. How the goal seems so far away. I want it to break you out of that, right? So then day 2, after we've done some mindset stuff, we're going to go on to day 2, crafting your irresistible freelance offer. Your offer is what makes you different. This is like the number one thing I think that keeps freelancers struggling. Is like you don't understand your value and how to communicate your value. And that's why you're not getting answers to your pitch. That's why you're having trouble standing out. So just to give you more insight into that, here's how you know you need a value proposition. Sorry, I'm starting to sweat, so I'm going to take this off. It was really cold in here like a moment ago, and now I'm all fired up. Here are your symptoms of not having a value proposition. You don't know who to reach out to. If you're saying like, I don't know who to target online, that means you don't have a value proposition. You don't have a focus. You don't know how to properly market yourself because you don't know the client's pain points. Therefore, you're not writing anything that's going to jump out to them when they're reading your website and your LinkedIn profile. You're just writing the generic, I offer copywriting service, freelance B2B copywriter. That's all generic, and we want to get really targeted. You're applying to endless opportunities and you are pitching, but you just keep finding yourself getting ignored or passed over for the opportunity. That's a clear indication that you don't have a freelance value proposition, and we want to fix that on day 2. Day 3, we're going to talk about, of course, cold pitching, how to write a customized cold pitch that gets responses. You know, everyone I think at this point, because there's so much information online, understands that like, yes, I need to customize my cold pitch. Let's customize the first line. But I keep getting, first of all, I receive a lot of cold pitches, and this is what people miss. Like, yes, customize the first line, but you have to make, like, I know from a cold pitch whether someone knows my business or not. And I know that they don't know my business and don't have that background knowledge because of how generic that first line is. Because I get a lot of pitches for YouTube, and it's like, the first line always says, hi, Christine, YouTube favors engagement. YouTube favors engaging videos. And then they go into their pitch about why they want to help me fix my thumbnails on YouTube, how they want to help me edit my videos on YouTube. So when you're writing a generic ass pitch like that, like YouTube favors engaging content, like duh. No, I thought YouTube favored really boring, horrible content. And now that you cold pitched me that, I know that, like, duh. So we want to stop sending like stupid personalization that doesn't do anything. And that's what my template is going to do, but it's not just a template, because that's the problem, is that all these writers are using templates. Like, I've gotten so many cold pitches with that same line. YouTube favors engaging videos, engaging content. Like, you all got the same script. And I want to have people stop like using scripts like robots and understand why they're using the template and why it works. That's the big differentiator on day 3. Is like, yeah, customization, but I want you to learn the structure of an effective cold pitch so that you can change it to your personality, you can put it in your voice, you can use it on whatever platform, and it'll still translate because you understand what about that message works versus copy and pasting a template. And by the way, I don't mean to like be rude. I think in the beginning as freelance copywriters, a lot of it is like monkey see, monkey do. When I first wrote my freelance copywriting website, I literally was like, just looking at what other writers were doing and kind of mimicking it, not understanding the deeper meaning behind it. So yes, it's great. We all have to start somewhere, but let's get even better results by understanding why something works. Okay, day 4 is going to be finding your dream clients and tapping into higher paying opportunities. So what does that mean? Well, you need to know where to look for freelance clients. That's key. So by the way, if you're in the chat right now, what's your preferred platform for finding freelance clients? Is it Upwork? Is it LinkedIn? Is it freelance websites like applying to jobs? Is it referrals? Like, tell me in the chat what you rely on for finding freelance clients at the moment. There's a lot of different ways that you can find freelance clients. There's job boards, there's communities, cold pitching in email or DM, there's applying to jobs. My specialty is LinkedIn, so I'm going to show you both LinkedIn and Twitter in this freelance fast track challenge. So if you're not registered, register for the Freelance Fast Track Challenge for free. It starts September 11th. And yes, you will get a replay of all of the day's lessons, but they're not forever available. You will have to complete the recordings. You have to watch the replays before they expire at the end of that week. So you don't have to be there at the exact time, but you do have to grab that replay as soon as it becomes available that day, watch it, complete the lesson in your workbook, hop into the group and do the little exercises with us. And then day 5 is going to be your freelance business action plan. So it's what we talked about today, setting a freelance income goal and then working backwards. go into a little bit more detail about what we're going to learn. So yeah, you're going to learn how to fill out a freelance income goal secret time. And Ephraim helped me design this. I give you an entire freelance business plan. So it's not just an income goal. It's going to be like, what is your goal? What are the steps to get to the goal? How are you positioning yourself? You're going to create your own freelance business plan so that you can see that this is doable, and it's going to just become so much more realistic. You're going to feel like night and day different by the time you're done with this challenge, because you're going to have this workbook where you're like, oh, this is my plan. There's something so powerful about writing down our goals and putting our plan down into like tangible words that makes it real. And that's what this challenge is going to do for you. Thank you, Ephraim, for dropping that link. Wally said, does the other one have to be in tech, or can it be a solopreneur or a small company? So we will get into that in the challenge as well. It's like, what type of company should you be targeting? Solopreneurs, agencies, there's a lot of different options. So we're going to get into all of that. It's a mix of what is good for you and what's profitable. Thank you so much for joining me. I implore you to join the Freelance Fast Track Challenge. Register at paidcopywriter.com or go to the link in my bio and register for free. It starts September 11th. Someone said, where is the link you just mentioned? It's in many places. So Ephraim just popped it in the chat. It's paidcopywriter.com/fast track. But as soon as you go to paidcopywriter.com, you'll see a little hello bar notification helping you get to that page. It's also at the link in my bio. It's called the Freelance Fast Track Challenge, and it is going to be 5 days of live sessions twice per day, one lesson, one live Q&A where I can interact with you, answer your questions. And then there's going to be a community group as well where you're interacting with other freelancers and sharing your big takeaways. Let's just say, for example, your LinkedIn headline. We're going to go into that and you're going to say, guys, this is my headline. How did I do? It's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. I'm pretty introverted, so for me to be doing this is like a big deal. Like, I'm so confident that you're going to get so much from like this free event. There's a lot of value that's going to come out of this, and if I didn't wholeheartedly believe that this is life-changing, I wouldn't even be bothering, because I'd rather just be alone typing and reading and being my introverted self. But I'm so excited to spend time with you and network with other writers. Tag me on Instagram when you register so I can share you to my stories. And have a great, what's today, Friday? No, today's Thursday. We're almost there. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me live.